It's Phil the MMA Dude, back with the Split Decision Podcast, episode number 54. Here with my always brilliant co-host, the Fight Geek. Fight Geek, it's been a little while, man. How you doing? I missed you.
Yeah, man. Glad to be back talking fights. It's been hectic. Long time no talk.
It's been very hectic. So here's what's on tap today, folks. We're going to start off with some news and headlines. After that, we're going to do some outside the UFC coverage. Then we're moving on to the UFC 247 preview and picks. And after that, my favorite section, listener questions and more. So, Fight Geek, let me start off the episode with a question for you. I try to think of the questions ahead of time, but the truth is our best episodes always have questions from the listeners. And this is one of those times.
Great.
Got a question from Victorious1612. Shout out Victorious. He's from Oslo, Norway, which I think is super cool. Got a lot of fans in Norway. Thank you. What up, Norway? What up, Victorious? So here's his question. He says, who has a better chance at winning? Jones moving up to heavyweight to fight Stipe Miocic, like he said, or Israel Adesanya moving up to face Jones at light heavyweight? Go.
Wow, that's a tough question. Great question. Honestly, I think I'd have to go with John going up and beating Stipe. I think that seems like the most logical here, especially if you do a little MMA math through Daniel Cormier's performances with Stipe. John was always in full control there, and DC was able to give Stipe problems with his quickness and stuff like that. So I do think that would probably be the more likely victory, John over Stipe.
Okay, very interesting. Obviously, this is very timely for those that don't know. I'm sure most of you listening do. That John Jones just had an interview with Ariel Helwani, of course, expressing strong interest in his next fight being against Stipe for the heavyweight belt. After, of course, if he wins at 247. My thoughts. I actually do disagree with you, Fight Geek. I know some people.
Really?
Some people are smirking right now, saying, "Oh, Phil doesn't like John." But here's what I have to say. I've got two things. First of all, we're going to know a lot more. I can answer this question a lot more effectively after UFC 248. I need to see
it. It's not nearly as fun to answer it effectively.
I understand that. I need to see how Izzy does against Romero, because if Israel Adesanya somehow gets the stop against Yoel Romero, Jones better think about going up to heavyweight. He might like his chances more if Israel knocks out Romero, which is a huge if, right? But
definitely a huge if.
A huge if.
Romero's never been knocked out.
I know. You know what I'm just coming back to, Fight Geek? I'm kind of done doubting Adesanya at this point. I mean, every single time. I mean, he didn't just beat Whitaker. He knocked him out twice.
Him. I mean, how many times has he been in a situation where he could have been doubted? Twice, 3 times in his career? John Jones has been put in those situations 20 times over and been successful.
Well, I don't really want... Yeah, okay, that's true. That is very true. I just can't, I think of John's last 2 wins, both decisions, one a split decision against Santos. And
a split decision victory, and Santos still hasn't fought again since that fight.
Yes, and in John's defense, and to John's credit, I will say this. Obviously, I love Daniel Cormier. Everyone knows that. But if let's just say Daniel Cormier beats Stipe in the trilogy fight and somehow gets convinced to stay and fight John at heavyweight for a third time, I now that DC is as old as he is, I've changed my position on that fight. I used to say DC would win at heavyweight. I now think Jones would beat him. So it does depend on.
I think that's reasonable because of the age. I mean, 2-3 years go by, things do change for sure. And John's only 32, which technically is coming into his physical and mental prime and full maturation. So even though John may not be as, he hasn't seemed to be as explosive and as much of a finisher as he was when he was young, he's still coming into his best stretch of his career right here, hypothetically.
Yeah, and hypothetically, I'm just really curious. You said that you think John has a better chance of beating Stipe. Would you like his chances, and what would be his path to victory? The only reason I put it that way is I can't see him knocking out Stipe Miocic. Do you?
No, I don't think he would knock Stipe out, but I definitely think he would win a point fight at range, especially with the kicks and his mobility. He would be a lot quicker than Stipe, in my opinion. And the one thing we don't know about John is what he's like when he doesn't have to cut weight. He cuts from 230 is kind of what's rumored down to 205. How do we know he's not losing quite a bit of power with that cut? He potentially could be a much bigger power puncher at 230 than he's ever been at 205, where he's more of a tactician.
Yeah, you know what? That's an excellent point. That's a very, very good point. Right now, I need to see Izzy versus Romero to really answer that. But again, there's no fun in that. And that's a great point, Fight Geek. He could be bigger and more powerful. So
exactly, and I definitely think John is smart enough and has shown enough chin to steer clear for 5 rounds or however long he does. I could actually see John, tiring out Stipe and potentially, choking him out or getting his back or something. But, maybe I'm just daydreaming up a fight scenario there. But it'd be interesting to watch for sure. I don't think Israel Adesanya has much of a chance to beat John Jones today. Now, in 2-3 years, there may be an option, and it's the similar, speed difference, size difference, because if John gets Izzy on the ground currently, that fight would be over very quickly. And I'm not sure that Izzy, with how technical John is defensively, is going to come in there and just knock him out.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know if you saw, small point is that Dana White said the other day that he is down to make Adesanya versus Jones, but Israel would need to defend against not only Romero, but also Paulo Costa first.
And I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
I want to see Costa undefeated versus Israel Adesanya undefeated, if that's where the paths go, because I think that's very necessary to see who the best fighter in that division is right now. How crazy would it be, though, if he were to do that, John were to beat Dominic and then Stipe, and then they still meet each other, both winning out in the scenario?
Yeah.
It'd be crazy.
It would be crazy, and I would love to see it.
So if John were to beat Stipe and then Izzy, you'd have to call him the greatest of all time.
Oh, absolutely. Look, guys, I don't like John, but I have to be fair. Of course. I don't even need him to beat both. If Jones gets the second belt at heavyweight, I will have no choice but to call him the greatest of all time, despite the 3 separate drug failures. I will have to.
Even if he continues to be a decision-type fighter like a GSP?
I mean, yeah, I'll have to call him the GOAT. I'll despise watching him fight. Right? But sorry?
So I said a win is a win.
Yeah. It won't make me like watching him fight. I think he's a really boring fighter right now. But
I think he's technical. He's a thinking man's fighter. He almost reminds me a lot of kind of how you watched Floyd Mayweather, kind of. Not the Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather, but like the Ricky Hatton Floyd Mayweather as he was starting to age a little bit and just be very defensive. John is in there thinking, he's being defensive, he's being, tactical. John, if he just had a little more killer instinct, I think all that criticism would go away. But I don't think John's boring to watch. I think he's fascinating to watch.
All right.
He has physical gifts and he uses a mental game plan pretty much to a T.
Okay. All right. One last question, and then we'll move on. It is a little bit of a polarizing one. Okay. Let me ask you this. Jones returned at UFC 232. He's had 3 championship fights, obviously 3-0. His only stoppage came against Gustafsson at 232. That was when they moved the event across state lines on 5 days' notice due to the drugs. Is this a coincidence? Ooh, he's taking a while to answer, folks.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, who knows?
Coincidence or no?
That is the cloud. That is the cloud that will forever hang over John Jones. But as long as he continues to win and that resume stays intact, what can really be said about it?
I agree. Okay, enough beating up John for now.
I think you're being nice tonight.
Hey, I'm going to try to be. I'm going to try very hard. Okay, so moving on to some more news and headlines. Jeremy Stephens versus Calvin Kattar got announced for UFC 249. That's a fight I really like.
Very fun fight. Going to be a fire fight. Both strikers. Both guys like to be in the pocket and land a lot of shots. I would imagine Kattar will be the favorite there, but I think dog because he definitely will be in that fight.
Oh, that's fascinating. I think that Stevens will definitely be in the fight, but I was going to say that's fascinating you say that you take Stevens because I thought I was actually making a gutsy call by saying I got Calvin. I think Calvin wins that.
No, I'm saying that Calvin is going to probably be the betting favorite in that fight at this point.
I got that.
But that Jeremy Stevens would be a super live dog in that fight because that is going to be, that's going to be a striking match, and Jeremy Stevens can easily be in those.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, moving on real quick. Obviously, there is the Zhang Weili versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk strawweight title fight. Yeah, the drama. We won't jump into all of that drama.
Well, let's jump into it real quick. Were you offended by anything Joanna did?
Okay. Oh, you're taking it that route. I was going to take it the Val route. We can go that route. Okay, yeah. So, obviously, for those who don't know, Joanna on her Instagram page posted a picture of her fighting in a hazmat suit against Zhang Weili. I thought it was in a little bit of poor taste, honestly. I mean, I can laugh at that. We can laugh at that.
But let's be clear. Joanna didn't create the graphic. Some
correct.
Random fan created it, and I'm not quite sure she fully understood the connotation with it.
Oh, come on. What? Because she's from Poland, she doesn't understand? What, is the culture too different?
Well, I'm kind of embarrassed to say it, but I didn't really pick up on it personally until after the dust storm.
Okay, I don't know if you should admit that live on the podcast, but that's okay.
And then I was like, oh, really? I guess I'm just out of touch too. I don't know. So I gave her the benefit of the doubt on that.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, guys, I don't, do I think that image is a big deal? No, I don't. But
there was two separate images, right? There's the one of Jessica Andrade, and she's wearing like the full hazmat, and then there's the one where they're next to each other, and she's wearing kind of like a gas mask, I think it is.
Right. Again, I don't think it's a huge deal. I just think it wasn't the best look coming from the contender who's, Is
it worse than Conor saying things about Khabib's wife?
No, not even close.
Okay, cool. So I think we can move on.
Yeah, moving on. And I'm glad you brought up Conor. Wow, how timely.
Wow.
You knew the final news and headline story I wanted to mention. So, as we all know, prior to and actually after McGregor's extremely impressive victory at UFC 246, he continually referred to 2020 as a season for him, where he would fight at least 3 times, and often started to say, in fact, that he could potentially fight 4 times. When John Kavanagh was interviewed on Ariel Helwani shortly after the fight, he said that he thought Conor would be fighting again in March. He said March was the time frame. Now, Dana White has gone on record in saying that he doesn't see a fight that makes sense besides Conor fighting the Khabib-Tony winner. What are your thoughts? Will Conor stick to his promise of a season of at least 3 fights, and he said 4 many times, or is he going to sit out for the rest of the year until late 2020 to face the Ferguson-Khabib winner?
Well, I don't think first of all, if Ferguson is the winner in that fight, hypothetically, that fight could turn around. He could fight that a lot sooner than he would be able to if Khabib wins with Ramadan.
That's
my
true.
Understanding.
That's true.
So that's the first huge hypothetical to go over, because if Tony wins, then I think, you do Conor versus Tony in, May or something, and then Conor could still definitely get that 3rd fight in. So I do think he'll get 3 fights in, whether it's Tony around summertime and then a fall fight or a winter fight, or Khabib and then a quick turnaround right before the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I think he.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I think he probably will get 3. 4 seems like quite a stretch.
Yeah, and so here's what I was going to say. What I was going to say is that's all well and good, and that all makes sense on paper, Fight Geek, but the pay-per-view slots are filling up like hotcakes. So it's getting increasingly difficult to see where Conor's pay-per-view, if he indeed fights 3 times, where that's going to fit in. UFC 250.
You don't think once kind of the dust settles after Khabib and Tony, they can't just add Conor to headline one of those pay-per-views that are already in place and move one of those headliners that aren't overly attractive to a co-main and just have a bigger card?
No, I'm sure they can. I'm sure they absolutely can. I'm just thinking of UFC 250 is taking place in Brazil. Almost certainly going to be Aldo versus Cejudo, potentially a Nunez defense, potentially. 251 is where I could see Conor potentially slipping in. 252 International Fight Week has all but been officially confirmed as Masvidal versus Usman. So do you see what I'm saying? It's getting harder and harder to see where Conor fits in.
Well, 52, I mean, where does that put us in the calendar?
That's July, so then August is 253.
So that's half the year. We still have 6 months. I doubt he's going to have another performance where he's done in 40 seconds and doesn't take a punch. So his quick turnaround would have needed to come right here on the front end of the schedule rather than on the back end of it. So, yeah, it's going to be tricky for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, are we ready to move on to a really quick section of a quick version of Outside the UFC? Won't spend too long on this.
Sure.
Okay, wanted to just really quickly talk about Chris Cyborg's victory at Bellator over defending champion Julia Budd. Obviously, Chris Cyborg winning in the 4th round via TKO and becoming the new Bellator champion. And really, I wanted, first of all, your takeaways from the fight, but second of all, I want to know what's next for Cyborg. Where does Bellator go from here? Do you do the Julia Budd rematch? Do you make a featherweight Grand Prix? Do you look at other contenders? What would you do if you're in Scott Coker's shoes?
I'm not quite sure they have enough bodies to make a Grand Prix interesting, in my opinion. I think there's a couple obvious choices here. Kat Zingano off name value alone and kind of just the fact that they have, whether or not Kat is deserving or has on a win streak or not, they've been circling each other. That conversation has been going on for 3 or 4 years at least. So that is something that's already built in for them. That could be a main event for Bellator, in my opinion, whether she deserves it or not. So that's the biggest name fight I think they can make. The Arlene Blencowe fight, which I think she's the most deserving in the Bellator kind of rankings hierarchy, makes sense as well. So I think there's definitely some fights there that are good. I don't think a Grand Prix is going to work. I think Bellator actually drags these Grand Prix out a little too long. I think they lose a little luster. I like them if they're just a little closer together. I know that's hard to do in MMA, but I think they just tend to drag a little bit. But with that being said, I was super impressed with Cyborg. First thing that stood out to me was she had extended aggression and cardio, which is something, we weren't sure of. We'd seen her kind of slow down in a couple past fights, and she really had her foot on the gas pedal all the way to the end, getting a stoppage over a very, very credible champion in Julia Budd. Super impressed,
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, I think she's going to sit there for a while. She got her 4th belt and her 4th different promotion. Very impressive stuff by Cyborg.
Did Julia Budd disappoint you with her performance, or was it just that Chris was too good?
Yeah, I just think Chris, first of all, Chris is a Hall of Fame mixed martial artist. She's an all-time great fighter, whether you like her or not, and controversies, whatever. She is a great fighter. I think she's 23-2. There's not many. I'm not sure if there's a female walking the planet with 23 MMA wins right now, other than Chris Cyborg. So, I mean, she's very, very successful.
Yeah.
Very, very good for a long time, and I thought she looked great. I think she had everything to prove coming back and fighting for Scott Coker. She looked reinvigorated, and that's as good as I'd seen her in a while.
So gun to your head, you've got to make a fight. Are you making Kat Zingano?
Yeah, I think that's probably what you have to make. Or what you can do is have her fight the Blencowe fight and then have Kat Zingano fight Julia Budd for a number 1 contender fight.
Yeah, that's another great option. I'll be honest, my choice is neither of those. I want to see the featherweight women's Grand Prix. And I know, there's not enough
Can you name 4 of them?
Not even close. Wait. Actually, maybe I can. Okay, Kat. Wait, no, I can. Those 4 contend. Yeah. So Chris, Julia Budd, Kat Zingano, and that other one you just named.
Arlene Blencowe. You could also put Leslie Smith and
I forgot. Okay, see, sorry, who was after Leslie?
Kavanaugh. She's kind of like a brawler type.
Oh, geez. Yeah,
Kavanaugh's so there's your 6.
Yeah, Kavanaugh's okay. I see how.
So at 5 you get real thin, I think. So we'll just have to wait and see.
I think, but that's okay. Just have some easy rounds for the easy first rounds.
My question, just to give Cyborg's victory some relevance, do you think Julia Budd would beat Megan Anderson?
Yes.
Yes. Do you think she would beat Felicia Spencer?
Yes, but that'd be a great fight.
So my point being, Julia Budd's probably the third best featherweight in the world, right?
Yeah, and obviously got to put Nunes number 1.
Yes, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's a good victory.
It is, absolutely. Okay, moving along, folks, moving along to our UFC 247 preview and picks. Fight Geek. We have got the main event. Jon Bones Jones versus Dominic Reyes. I think Dominic has a nickname. I know, it's so lame I can't remember it. I honestly couldn't tell you what it is, and that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Kind of odd. It must be really bad. Or maybe he doesn't have one like Nate Diaz, but he's no Nate Diaz. Anyways, break it down, baby. Jones versus Dominic Reyes. Is the undefeated Reyes the one to finally dethrone the king?
Dominic Reyes' nickname is the Devastator.
That's why I didn't remember it, because, okay, yeah, wow.
Now that's forgettable.
He needs to go back and
Let's not
rethink of that one.
Trash on him. I definitely think, he's got, I don't know if he has paths to victory, but I definitely think he has ways to threaten Jon. Again, Jon is just very tactical, has a lifetime in the sport, the very highest level. Anything can happen in MMA, but I think that Jon will win this by third round TKO.
Oh, fascinating that you think he's going to get the TKO. Obviously, what I said in the beginning, he hasn't had a stop since 232. Obviously, that had a lot of controversy surrounding it. So you think...
I think Jon...
You think he stops him?
I think he will stop him. I think he has something to prove here, even though, Dominic Reyes is kind of an understated opponent, and they've kind of had some back and forth, and Jon's kind of dismissing him. I think Jon, is in a good place right now. Obviously, I listened to the whole Ariel Helwani conversation. Seems to be focused right now. It wasn't the most likable interview.
No comment on that.
But I definitely think he's in a more, balanced place than he was before. And, he still is one of the greatest fighters to ever walk the earth. Very technical, very smart game plan. And unless he just gets clipped, which I don't. If I don't think Stipe Miocic is going to catch him, I don't think Dominic Reyes is going to catch him. And I think Jon has something to prove here, hearing the whole narrative about him not being a finisher anymore and not looking great in his last few fights. Needing to make a statement again to get the fight with Stipe, all that kind of put together, I think we see a good version of Jon this weekend.
Very fair, very fair. Okay, so here's my thoughts on Reyes versus Jones. I think Reyes by first round TKO. No, I'm kidding. Oh my gosh, I am lying. I had to say it as a quick joke. Look, this is what I will say.
I have one question. Is this your 2 least favorite fighters on the roster?
It's definitely my 2 least favorite light heavyweights. Definitely. No. I can't. I don't. No, it's not. No, Reyes is not the second most disliked. That's Greg Hardy. But moving on. Okay. So look, the truth is, when Santos fought Jones, I had a gut feeling that would be a very serious test for Jon. On this podcast, I still picked Jon to win. When Anthony Lionheart Smith fought Jon, I was excited for it. I thought it would be a very interesting fight and an interesting test. I still picked Jon to win. And I know a lot of people have been saying, you've been very, Dominic Reyes is getting so disrespected this week. He's undefeated. He's got a really good chance. He's a big sleeper. And I'm here to just say, no, I'm doubling down. Reyes has no shot whatsoever. And I'm prepared to look like a fool if he wins. Guys, no need to buy the pay-per-view. Stream it. Reyes is getting his ass whooped. 5-round unanimous decision. 50-44 on all 3 cards.
Okay. So you think it's going to go similar to the Lionheart-Smith fight then?
I think it'll go similar to Lionheart-Smith, potentially another, illegal knee to a downed opponent. I know that Jones loves to throw those. Oh man, I'm not being nice anymore. But yeah, I think.
Why was he down? Because he was being dominated.
True. Hey, that's very true. No, and on a serious note, I think that Jones is going to make Dominic look like a little fool. We saw Reyes lose to Volkanov's Demir. Everyone knows that that's what really happened, and it's going to be ugly.
How impressive, honestly, is the Chris Weidman knockout at 205? I'm not trying to bag on it, but I mean, how much can you take from that performance?
It means absolutely nothing. It couldn't mean less. It couldn't mean less.
So that, and then the Volkan fight, I think,
which he lost.
I think that John is going to be 2 levels above that for sure.
But, and I'm happy to be, guys, Jones fans, if I'm wrong about this part of the prediction, please at me, talk crap to me on Twitter. I can handle it. I'm a big boy. I do not think John will get the finish because, well, I won't say why. But again, I don't think he gets the finish anymore.
You don't think he's pulsing this week?
I think he may be clean. I don't know, but maybe.
Nobody knows. All right, so we're both taking John. You got him by decision. I got him by TKO. I'm just kind of I don't know if I'm hoping or what, but I want to be entertained by John Jones. So let's
And by the way, last thing I'll say quickly is I legitimately wish Dominic Reyes luck, and I hope he does much better than I expect. I have very, very little belief in him, but I hope I'm wrong.
We couldn't tell. All right, let's move on to the next one. Valentina Shevchenko defending her women's flyweight title versus Caitlin Chookagian. Who you got and how?
All right, look. I got to say something. I know that you've got me muted on Twitter. You didn't see this post from the other day. But Caitlin Chookagian, when you really compare the two by the numbers, I do believe this fight is closer than people are giving it credit for. Chookagian has a higher significant strike volume by the minute on average. I believe it's something like 4.2 strikes to 3.1.
Don't tell me about significant strikes, okay? Valentina Shevchenko decapitated Jessica Ai, who outpoint fighted.
That's her only stop.
Chookagian.
That's Shevchenko's only stop as champ.
That's not true. Well, she basically killed Capoeira. She outstruck her 200 to 2.
That wasn't a title fight.
No, I'm just talking about their track records as fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin Chookagian has 8 decisions in her career.
That's
in the UFC.
Yeah, she's a decision machine.
Fights.
Listen, she's a decision machine for sure.
Yeah.
No
I
doubt.
just don't see how she's going to inflict enough damage to win that fight in any way.
Well,
Valentina's going to hold the center.
Okay.
And she's going to counter strike, and she obviously lands much heavier strikes and much heavier kicks.
This is all I'm going to say. Chookagian has extreme cardio, extremely high volume output. She's always sticking and moving, and she enjoys a reach advantage and a height advantage.
And who has she fought even close to the level of a Valentina Shevchenko?
The answer is nobody, and I'm taking Shevchenko by unanimous decision, 50-45.
I will take the same exact thing. I think she's going to win. Actually, no, I'm going to go 49-46. I think Chookagian could win the first round with kind of her, like you said, her volume and output, but Val will figure out her movements and then counter-strike her way to victory. And if it goes to the ground, I would take Val's skill set all the way.
Oh, now you make it 49-46 after I did this giant Caitlin Chookagian don't counter out thing. Okay, all right.
Well, what? Can she win a round? Sure. I mean, it's a sport, but can she win a fight? I don't think so.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. The next fight down, folks, we have got friend of the program, Juan Adams versus Tafa. Who you got?
Gotta go. I mean, Juan Adams, had a tough loss and left the UFC, and he's back now. Big-time talent. I'm expecting him to be hungrier than ever. Going out on a limb, taking show favorite Juan Adams here.
Hey, he should be a show regular. You know what? We need to reach out to him
come
again.
back.
Come back, Juan. And guys, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you check out the Juan Adams episode. That was a great one. I have to agree with you. I just think that Juan's going to get it done. I see it by unanimous decision. I know that Tafa's a tricky 3-1 opponent, but I think Juan gets that thing done.
A lot of fights on this card are hard to pick, and that's another one. Hard to see. Both guys could get it done. Both guys could lose, so we'll take Juan Adams.
Absolutely.
All right, moving on. Mirsad Bektic versus Dan Ige. This should be a fun action fight. Who do you got?
Yeah, you know what? So Bektic is the slight favorite, which doesn't surprise me in the Vegas books. He is the slight favorite, but I am taking the underdog, which by the way almost never works out for me. I'm doing it anyway. I got Dan Ige via, ready? Third round TKO.
Third round TKO. Okay, I have Mirsad Bektic in this fight. I think he's fought the more high-end competition. I am going to take him by... I guess I'll take him by split decision.
Okay. All right. All right.
Back and forth fight.
Yep, absolutely. And then final fight of the main card, we've got a heavyweight fight between Derek Lewis and Ilir Latifi, who is making his heavyweight debut. Now, there's
such a strange fight. This is going to be strange no matter what happens.
Yeah, there's a great listener question about it, so I don't want to answer every aspect of this fight, but who you got?
I'm going to take the Black Beast in this one, and I'm going to take him by first round knockout.
Ooh, no love for your Swedish friend, Mr. Latifi.
I love Latifi, but I mean, wasn't he just stopped in his last fight at 205?
Yeah,
I mean, one thing Black Beast has is enormous power. I think we're going to see a good version of him as well. You know, you go back and look at his fights, there has been an evolution with the Black Beast. I think he's actually getting better, even though he's had some mixed results. And I think we'll probably see him even better than before. And he still has enormous power. I think he'll land something and just kind of knock Latifi off balance and then just follow up and be able to get him out of there.
Yeah. And in terms of who I've got for that fight, I do think Derek Lewis gets that thing done, but I've got it as a second round TKO. And let me just say this. I like Ilir Latifi from what I've heard of him. I've heard he's one of the nicest and most approachable fighters on the roster. And I just have to wonder. I remember him at light heavyweight and always thinking that he was short for a light heavyweight. I felt that he could possibly make 185.
No way.
No way.
Too much mass.
I understand that. Thanks, Einstein.
To cut it 205. That's all muscle.
I just don't know why he didn't have a coach or a friend pull him aside and say, "Alert, yo, we like you, bro. Listen, don't go to heavyweight, dog. Just don't do it, because it's such a bad idea, Fight Geek. Is it not?
It seems like a really bad idea. Maybe he feels like he's going to have a quickness advantage, but he didn't have a great gas tank at 205, so I'm not sure how it's going to be. This could be like the battle of whose gas tank lasts the longest too, because both of them are going to probably be gassed pretty quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess there's probably just no one left for him to fight at 205. I mean, that's a thin division. There's not many names in that division.
Oh, he could have. There's always someone. He could have fought like an Alexander Rakic, who's coming off a loss, right? I mean,
he probably does. I don't know. That'd be a tough fight for him.
Yeah, that's true. But, just for the record, Ilir Latifi will now be the shortest heavyweight on the roster.
At what, 5'9"?
Yeah, 5'7". I think he's got 5'9" with like maybe platform shoes on. But all right. Moving on to the main event of the prelims, the major prelim fight: Trevin Giles versus Antonio Arroyo.
Is this really headlining the prelims on ESPN?
I believe so, and even odder is the fight right before it is Andre KGB Lee versus Lauren Murphy, which is weird, right?
It's very weird that Trevin Giles versus Antonio Arroyo would be like the feature fight. I do like Trevin Giles. He's lost his last two, got mixed results, pretty talented guy, good boxer, striker, so I'm taking him in this one. But strange feature fight in my opinion.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And for the record, I'm going off of Tapology right now. There used to be a time in the distant past when the UFC would post the cards on their website really nicely.
I'm doubling down on Wikipedia right now.
Oh, you don't want to do that, bro. You don't want to do that. Trust me, Wikipedia says all kinds of things. But yeah, going off of Tapology, that's what I've got, and they've been pretty good. Yeah, I think that this is going to be Arroyo's fight to lose, frankly. So. Give me Arroyo by split decision.
Close one. All right. Okay. Next fight is actually an interesting one. Alex Morono versus Kaylin Chaos Williams. A short.
Whoa! What about KGB Lee versus Laura Murphy?
I have the order swapped there. So whatever.
Okay.
Which one do you want to do first?
Let's just do KGB Lee versus Laura Murphy.
Okay, that's a good fight. Lauren Murphy's super tough, coming off the best win of her career, but I still think Andrea Lee could be a title contender, or at least a title challenger in that division. I'm taking Andrea Lee in this one via split decision.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think that I have to agree with you that KGB Lee has some really serious talent. I think she could be a contender. Obviously, she had her loss to Calderwood that was disappointing, but I've never really thought too much of Lauren Murphy either personally or in terms of her skill set. I just remember her as the lady from Tough that looked ahead in the draw and lost in the first round, and then started accusing Eddie Alvarez of being a monster because she couldn't fight. So
the only person in history to accuse Eddie Alvarez of being a bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, she was literally just going on and on. The truth is,
but she is a very, very tough fighter. She's been around for a very long time.
I seriously dislike almost no female fighters. Like there's not many, but damn, do I hate Lauren Murphy. So hopefully
she can
hopefully
get
she
out
loses
of your list
brutally.
with Beck Rollins.
Oh, hey Beck, what up? Thanks for listening.
And Megan Anderson, your three favorites.
Oh God, the Spider Lady. Let's not talk about that.
You say you like them all, and then I just rattle off three that you read.
All right. Okay, moving on. So this is the fight I think you were talking about: Alex Morono versus Kaylin Williams, correct?
Yes, I like this fight. Late replacement, Kaylin Williams got a lot of talent.
Yes, he does.
Alex Morono's a tricky guy. He's been in there versus guys like Nico Price. He's fought some good competition. Actually has a pretty solid UFC record, so this is interesting. With that said, I'm still going to take a flyer on the new guy and the talent. I'm taking Williams I'll take him by split decision.
Disagree. I agree. It's a very hard contest. Kaylin Williams is not to be underestimated. 9-1 for a reason. Number 6 welterweight in the state of Michigan. But I do think Morono's going to be a little too good for him. And
who's 1 through 5 in Michigan?
Well, hey, look, I can click on the little. I don't know. I think Kairos probably. I don't know.
Kairos, are you ranked in Michigan?
Yeah, Kairos, get back to us. But I got to take Morono via third round stoppage.
Oh, that's very interesting. You think the new guy will get tired?
I think he's. You know what? He's going to get tired because he's going to be just a little nervous, and we all know that gets you tired fast.
Interesting. Okay, now let's go to the bottom. I'm just going to call these off. Miles John versus Mario Batista, taking Miles John there. Miles Johns.
I am as well.
Okay. Journey Newsom versus Domingo Pilarte.
I got Pilarte. I know he's the small underdog. I think he's going to pull it off.
I took Journey Newsom, so good. Glad to disagree with you a little bit.
All right.
And then bantamweight, Andre Ewell versus Jonathan Martinez. This is a very fun fight to kick off the card. I'm going to take Andre Ewell.
Oh, fascinating, because I'm taking Jonathan Martinez. How do you see Ewell beating him?
With his super long arms, boxing.
Okay. Well, Martinez is no slouch, bro. So.
No, he's no slouch. He's had a couple good fights, but I just think Ewell's due. Yep,
absolutely. Now, is that it? Tapology says there's a final fight between Austin Lingo and Youssef Zalal. I don't know if that's still accurate, but I got.
I could take it or leave it. Personally.
I got the undefeated Austin Lingo. He's 7-0 versus Youssef Zalal, who's 7-2. I think it's going to be a close one. Let's go Lingo. But
same Lingo.
Okay. All right. So, guys, we're going to take a really quick break. After that, we will be back with my favorite section, listener questions, and more. Hey guys, it's Phil the MMA Dude letting you know that this episode of the Split Decision podcast is brought to you by TotalAggressionClothing.com. Visit www.TotalAggressionClothing.com and use the promo code 46210 to receive a special Split podcast discount on all Total Aggression hats, shirts, hoodies, and more. Again, that's www.TotalAggressionClothing.com with promo code 46210. Hey guys, it's Phil the MMA Dude back with the Split Decision podcast episode number 54. That's 54. Here with my always brilliant co-host, the Fight Geek, and it is now time for my favorite section, Listener Questions.
Ooh, put a little Axl Rose on the end there. I liked it.
You know, that's what I was going for, so thank you.
All right. What do you got? Actually, I got one queued up right here from Instagram. We'll get that one out of the way.
Let's go.
Jim Assoon.
Jim Assoon.
What's up? He says, what's next for Latifi when he loses this weekend? I'm not sure where he goes from here. Hashtag Ask Split Pod. Good question.
Oh, Jim's a man.
Yeah, if he loses at heavyweight, I think he probably could. I mean, depending on how he loses, I think he could probably get another fight in the UFC. But you know, he looks like the type of guy who could go win the heavyweight tournament in PFL, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I mean, what's that saying? But yeah, no, I agree.
Make you $1 million richer if you got no more fights in the UFC.
I completely agree, and in fact, you know what? I think that would be you just put that seed in my head, Fight Geek. I think that would be the best thing that could happen to him, frankly, is going to the PFL and just collecting that $1 million.
Fighting Jared Roshold for the title.
I don't know who that is. But
you wouldn't know who that is. All right, so that's what I think.
Yeah.
Got anything else queued up?
By the way, for anyone thinking, oh man, he's the MMA dude and he's a PFL casual, yes, I am, and I couldn't be more proud of it. I saw PFL 2, and I will never see another event again. I was there live.
There's no room for them to grow, huh? You saw the second show in their history, and you wrote them off.
I went into Chicago theater, and there was literally a cage on a stage. It was the most awkward thing. And then we sit down. We're looking at a stage for a play. It was the most awkward thing I've ever seen.
You're part of a grassroots movement, Phil. Come on.
Yeah. PFL's garbage. Okay. So, anyways,
they got Rory Mack now.
Like I said, PFL's garbage. Oh nope.
All right. Who do you got? What do you got?
Okay. All right. You got another one queued up, or should I go?
Sure,
No.
I got one from Quinn.
Quinn, what up? Shout out, guys. Make sure you follow Quinn. He's the man. He's consistent. He's always giving us love. He's one of our day one homies. He's the man. Follow him.
Yeah, what Phil said. Thanks for the question, Quinn. He says, who wins in a fight, Jones or Francis Ngannou? Obviously, heavyweight. Hashtag AskSplitPod. Go ahead. Jones versus Ngannou. How do you see that crazy matchup going?
I think the only question there that's tough is, does Ngannou sleep him in the first round or the second? And I say first.
But if Ngannou couldn't sleep Stipe, you're certain he's going to sleep John Jones?
Oh, that's correct. Stipe and John Jones are very different.
Yeah, John's more elusive.
He's whatever you'd like to say.
And he definitely has a better gas tank than Stipe. So I mean,
you think Jones would beat Francis Ngannou? I give him
I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he'd get knocked out of this world. I mean, we've seen Francis completely toyed with by someone who has cardio in wrestling, and John has those in droves.
Just for the record, I think Jones. I'm not hating just to hate. I think Jones has I think Jones has a way better chance against Stipe than he does against Francis, in my personal opinion.
Stipe made Francis look like the JV squad.
No, he didn't. First of all, you're talking about over 2 years ago, bro. Yeah, UFC 220. Cool, dude.
Right. You're right.
That was a long time ago, and Ngannou's
improved. That is one variable, and the second variable is you don't know what John will look like at 230 and how much.
Well, neither do you.
Still packed.
So why are you so confident?
Well, I'm just saying, the attributes that have beaten Francis before, John has.
I mean, think of it this way. If Thiago Santos, the middleweight, was able to hit John so hard that his mouthpiece went flying out of the octagon.
Oh my God, John got hit so hard.
Wait, did that not happen?
I don't think your mouthpiece flying out is always an indicator on like the most stiff punch you've taken. You know,
I think it kind of is.
You can be mouth breathing out in circumstances. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen. I don't think that means that he got hit the hardest in his career.
You're a great Jones defender. You should be on his legal team. You should get hired, bro.
You can't discredit the guy's whole career.
Yeah. No, I know.
There's a lot to work with there. Whether you think he's a cheater or not, there's
No, of course.
a lot to work with.
Of course he's great. But the truth is, and I'll just say this really quick. Guys, why do you think Jones hasn't moved up to heavyweight yet? I'll tell you why. Because the truth is, he's actually a smart man. He's a smart guy. He really is. He knows what's up. That's why.
Well, my point is what have we seen Francis do but knock guys out? What if he wasn't able to knock John out?
What have we seen him do? We've seen him knock out 2 former champions in Curtis Blades in a combined under 2.5 minutes in his last 3 fights. That's what we've seen him do.
And then when he doesn't do that, what happens? He had one
I don't know. We can't see it. It never happens.
What are you talking about? He had one of the worst performances in UFC history versus Derek Lewis.
That was like a bajillion years ago.
Wow. So you're saying he will never have another stinker of a performance like that again?
I feel pretty confident saying that, yeah.
Well, I'm saying I have enough belief in John that he could stifle that and stay away. I certainly don't think Francis has 3-round cardio. I think by the end of the second round, if he didn't knock out Jones, he would be in grave danger in there. John will choke him out or just wear him out to where he can't breathe. He still has all that muscle. That muscle didn't go anywhere. He still needs all that oxygen, and he's an explosive power puncher.
Well, on that, actually, we can agree. I would tend to favor John if that goes past 2 rounds as well. But that's a humongous if.
Yeah, well, it'd be a great fight to see someday.
Yeah.
All right, Quinn. Thanks for the question, man. You got anything else, Phil?
Quinn's the man. And quickly, guys, follow Quinn in his username. It's @Orthodox1993. So give Quinn a quick follow. All right, guys. Eduardo, Atlanta Crew. Eduardo, what up? We've missed you, bro. I love Eduardo. Sometimes he comes, and sometimes for like 2 weeks he's gone. Eduardo, what are you doing? We missed you. Okay, he says.
He's living life, man.
Yeah, no, there's no excuse. When the Split Decision podcast comes out, you got to stop your life, pal. Okay.
Stop what you're doing. Ask a question, people.
So Eduardo says, do you think we'll see fighters start to throw fights in order to go on a losing streak and get a title shot? Sorry, Phil. I can't stop harping on this.
When I first saw this question, it kind of got me a little heated. I was like, throwing fights? And then I got to the second part of the question. So, yeah, it's a bizarre time in MMA, man. It's really kind of, it's kind of blurring the lines of what the point is in being a prize fighter. I know the point is to make as much money as possible, and I guess that's why that's the prevailing wisdom nowadays. But, it's weird that fighters that are coming off losses are getting title shots for sure.
I know. Just to clarify, though, so no one's confused, I have absolutely not accused anyone of throwing a fight, by the way.
No. What he's saying, I believe he's
making
a joke because Romero and Aldo are getting title shots coming off of losses.
Right.
When guys like Tony Ferguson had to wait like 5 years for his title shot.
Absolutely. 100%.
So it's just very hypocritical. It doesn't make a lot of sense. You hope the MMA got sorted out, and the right people win the belts because, man, it gets bad. I mean, I hope Aldo beats Cejudo if that fight gets made. I honestly do. Cejudo hasn't done nothing since he's been the title holder.
Oh, see, I don't see that wouldn't. See, here's where that gets. That's interesting you said that, Fight Geek, because I think that is when we start to see disaster. And I understand Jose Aldo's a way more popular guy overall than Cejudo with the diehards. Same with me. I like Aldo more too. But if Aldo is getting this fight, which is really, so preposterous. He lost.
It is preposterous. He lost on paper. I believe he won that fight. I scored
that
fight.
No, I did too, but that really shouldn't matter.
Well, that's the only reason you can paint it in your head, dude. That's the only way you can justify it is saying that, these athletic commissions who have these judges that don't know what they're watching a lot of times.
But you got to go by, because otherwise, just get rid of the judges. Just whoever they think won gets it.
We'll just have a fan vote.
Yeah, no, seriously, just do a fan vote. If you're not going to respect the decisions, just do a fan vote.
Conor gets 7 title shots in a row off losses.
He'd probably get 11 in a row off losses.
So, yeah, it's a bizarre thing. Obviously it's not a serious question, but it is embarrassing.
Let me ask you this.
Imagine
Yeah.
if Izzy loses to Romero, which is highly likely, and Romero's what? Off the top of my head, I think he's 1-3 in his last 4.
Yeah, I know we discussed this a little bit though. I really have less of a problem with that because Izzy insisted on fighting Romero.
I agree with you, but Henry is insisting on fighting Aldo. So what's the difference?
I'll tell you what the difference is. The difference is that Romero's been at the weight class for a very long time, and that those 3 losses you're referring to were razor close split decisions. Not to mention,
they were losses, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
None of them were closer than Aldo Moraes.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
They're very similar situations.
That's true.
Except that Romero's been a top fighter in that division for a long time. But okay, we got to keep it moving. Thanks for that question. Good question. I got one from Jalen Ware queued up.
Jalen Ware, what up? And by the way, shout out to Jalen. Strive to be great. I believe that's his username. I'm not even looking, but I think I've remembered it.
Yes, strive to be _GR8. Yep.
He's the man, and he just brings it every single time with the fire questions. So shout out to you, Jalen. We appreciate you. Go ahead.
All right. He says, will a John Jones decision victory in a close fight against Reyes almost be a loss for him in a way people view his invincibility or GOAT status? And I mean, I think for people who are uneducated, it will, but I definitely
so condescending.
Like I compared him to GSP earlier. You know, GSP, when you're defending titles and you're taking on all comers and all different kinds of challenges, the goal is to win. You know, you can't be spectacular every single time out, especially when, I mean, John Jones is, without all the drama, he's like 26-0, right?
I mean, you're going to say that Jones is undefeated? Right?
So my point is, to stay on top, sometimes you can't be this wild man. You have to be a thinker. You have to be smart. And I think that's what we're seeing. So, you know, to me, no, if he were to win a close decision and keep his belt and moved, I think he's 26-1-1 at that point. No, I would still think he's firmly in the discussion as one of the top 3 fighters of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. And in regards to, you know, if John, you know, wins this close fight, is that going to hurt him? The answer realistically is no. I mean, I would love to say yes, but the answer is no. And all you got to look at is his last fight at UFC 239 when he won a split decision against Santos. I scored that fight 48-47. Santos, I know many.
I want to watch that fight with you. You tell me how you scored it that way.
What do you? I mean, 30%, 40% of people who saw it scored it that way, including
one of them to sit and watch,
including one of the judges, Fight Geek, including one of the judges. So.
Well, the judges.
The judges.
I want to sit with all those people, punch by punch, second by second of that fight, and you tell me how he won.
That's no problem. Let's do it.
I didn't see it that way. All right. I got one queued up from Cyrus King.
Cyrus, what up? Sorry that Fight Geek always calls you Sirius. My bad.
All right. He says, if Valentina wins on Saturday, do you guys see her going on a John Jones type run where she cleans out her division? I'm thinking like a 5-year run. If so, at what point do you think she should take part in a super fight with Weili Zhang or fight Amanda Nunes for a 3rd title? You got any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, that's a great question, Cyrus. I really love that one. I think it's difficult. In terms of her going on a run and cleaning out the division, I mean, she could do that easily, right? I mean, I think she could. I honestly have no idea who beats her in the next 3 years. I mean, none. Just none. So, yes, she could do that.
Who do you even think? I mean, let's just think. So she wins.
We're talking flyweight, right? Only?
Yeah, flyweight. So we're talking, let's say she wins tonight. Who would even be next to fight?
I think if KGB can, I mean, geez, man.
KGB, if she beats Mueller coming off a loss to Calderwood?
I mean, flyweight hasn't really taken off like it was supposed to. It's sort of been a bit of a failure, if I'm being honest. Right?
Well, what about
Do you disagree with that comment? Has flyweight been a failure?
It's been underwhelming, I think you would say. I don't know about a failure, but wasn't Paige Van Zandt scheduled to fight Ribas in that division?
Yeah, she got nervous and broke her arm again on purpose.
Oh. So
No, I'm sure it was. No, what?
So Ribas, who is she fighting now? Who's the replacement?
Oh man, putting me on the spot. That I can't remember.
All right, so maybe, I'm just trying to think of opponents that would even do anything. So Andrea Lee and Rebus, maybe?
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, neither of them has a
And they were
chance.
banking on Macy Barber being the challenger for her next year, and that's not going to happen right away. So
Macy, and if look, I'm a huge Macy Barber fan. I'm even a huge Bucky Barber fan now, in an ironic way. I wait. Can we just get a reality show called Close Cut with the Barbers?
or just Bucky versus Bucky.
Yo, Bucky versus Bucky is great because you know that there's a son who just joined Bellator. This
Bucky Jr.
this has got no. It's another. It's like, oh man, what is his name? Wait, what is his name? It's so It's such a dumb name. It's like the most. Oh, sorry, I can't say it. But his name sucks. So
You said it. All right, let's see. So yeah, I have no idea who she's going to fight next. I think that third fight versus Nunes is not too far out, and I think that fight is more interesting than Weili Zhang versus her, or Zhang Weili.
okay, fascinating because I get the impression that yes, there will definitely be a super fight well before that 5-year period, Cyrus. I think it's going to happen in the next two, simply because again,
I would agree because they're both running out of people to fight, and that second fight, no matter what you want to say, was razor sharp.
Oh,
razor close. I mean, Valentina was dead set that she won that fight.
absolutely, absolutely. And by the way, I do disagree though. I just think that Zhang Weili and Val, I think that they've been going back and forth a little bit. I think there's some legitimate dislike there. Val, for those that don't know, said the other day that Zhang Weili got the belt through lucky circumstances and has to defend far more before she'll consider a super fight. But I think a lot of that is gamesmanship. I think
But her division, there's actually defenses to be had. So Zhang Weili, she's going to be defending right now against Joanna. That's a big name. Let's say Rose were to beat Andrade in the rematch. Then you have a Weili, or I keep saying Weili Zhang Weili. I don't know which one goes first. But think about Rose versus Weili. That'd be a great fight for her as well, too. So there's more incentive for her, Weili to stay in her weight class. I don't see why she would want to rush up to Val when she has big fights in front of her.
Can Val make 115?
No. I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, then I've got one last question about, because this is such a juicy question. I love it.
And I mean, who in the world, when you go on the outside looking in, who is Amanda Nunes going to fight?
I was just going to say, this is why I love this question. Can Amanda make 125 some way, somehow?
No, that would never happen.
Why?
135
Why?
Because she can't get down there, A, and B, that both of their fights were at 135, and they were both razor close fights. They were completely competitive. There'd be no reason to change the terms of engagement in that rivalry because Valentina arguably won the last match.
No, there would be a reason because then Nunes could potentially get 3 belts. I know that super fights are kind of
think about the way TJ had to kill himself to get the 125 for that title shot. Think about what Amanda Nunes would have to do to get down.
Well, TJ didn't have to kill himself. He just took tons and tons of performance-enhancing drugs and injected them into his veins via needle.
And how did that work out for his performance?
Not so good.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But I would love to see Nunes-Shevchenko 3. That's one of those rare 2-0
fights. I think that's more likely to happen, for sure. I mean, you got Joanna, Rose, Andrade. You have other girls in the 125 or the 115 class that are...
Wait, you said it's unlikely to happen?
No, I think out of the two options, I think Valentina versus Nunes is most likely to happen.
Okay, yeah, I do agree with you there. Just because, I mean, honestly, there's no one for Nunes. I mean, there's just no one right now. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Got another one here from Jacob Powers.
Jacob, what up? Shout out to Jacob Powers, at Jacob Powers 2. Jacob is a fantastic listener, always bringing the fire and the heat with the questions.
Yes, he is. Okay, he says, during Colby's interview with Ariel, his jaw locks up. Is that a sign of healing improperly, or does it show that he didn't get it wired shut, or is that normal for that type of injury? This is over my pay grade. I'm not sure if, wiring your jaw or whatever. I'm not privy to that, but it certainly was odd during the interview for him to stop that way. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was odd. I will confess that when I saw the interview the first time, I didn't notice anything. So when Jacob asked,
I thought he was reading something off the screen, like maybe like he has a
well, he
script
probably was.
or notes that he was writing.
I'm sure he was.
And he almost looked confused and was like looking at his notes, but who knows?
Yeah, no. So I contacted Jacob and said, "Hey, man, do you happen to have a timestamp of that moment?" He was nice enough to provide one. Thank you, Jacob. And I checked it out, and it does look indeed like there is something wrong with Colby's jaw for a quick minute.
It does. Exactly.
So the other thing is I found it interesting that Colby denied that his jaw was broken. That's interesting because Dana White said in the post-fight press conference just to confirm, yes, Colby's jaw was broken.
Didn't we see the X-ray?
I thought so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw the little crack in the front part of his jaw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we did.
So, yeah.
But Colby says he never broke it.
Well, who says you should believe what Colby says?
Everything that Colby says is pure fact and truth. We all know that.
Yeah, right. It took him a little while to heal up, but he came back in character. You got to respect him for that.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so Jacob actually has another question. Jacob, I love it. If Michael Chiesa doesn't get a fight with Colby Covington, who should he fight next? Everyone in front of him in the rankings is booked except Damian Maia. Feel like that won't really help him move forward, and he says he won't accept anything less. #AskSplitPod. Go ahead.
Well, I did a poll on this a couple days ago, and I think it should be Wonder Boy. I think Wonder Boy makes a ton of sense. Wonder Boy's not close enough to the title to demand one of the top 3 or 4 guys, but he's a stiff test in that division for Chiesa, who's looking to build a credible case to fight the top 4 guys. So I think that fight makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, very hard to pick against that one. I think Wonder Boy is honestly a great choice. I've heard a lot of people, however, say that they'd like to see Wonder Boy take on Covington next. A lot of people are throwing Wonder Boy out for the next Covington opponent.
That doesn't interest me too much. I don't want to see a buildup of Colby talking like an idiot and then Wonder Boy just kind of taking it and smiling. That fight doesn't do a ton for me.
Oh, gosh, that does sound really unpleasant, actually.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, now that you say it like that. Okay, well, let me ask you this, though. Okay, let's say that they do make Wonder Boy versus Chiesa. By the way, Wonder Boy's ranked number 6, Chiesa's ranked number 7 as of right now in the welterweight rankings. Who does Colby Covington fight when he returns?
Depending on when he's ready to return, probably the winner of Masvidal Usman. Unless it's Masvidal, then Conor probably gets the 170-pound shot.
Okay, you don't think that it would be the winner of Leon Edwards versus Woodley?
I'm not sold on that yet, but Colby versus the winner of that fight would be awesome.
Especially if Woodley comes back in devastating fashion and gets some kind of huge knockout.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that would be... They have a nice little situation at the top there. The top 5 in the welterweight division all could be fighting for a title soon, but, there's only a few that are actually entertaining, so that's the problem.
Right. Totally agree. It really is actually weirdly shaping up to be a pretty exciting division, and I know I was hating on welterweight for a while, so, go figure.
So the next couple fights in that division to shake out who will be fighting who's going to be big. I mean, who knows? I don't see Masvidal beating Usman in that fight, but if he did, that would change things dramatically. That would give Conor a chance to go for his 3rd belt, no doubt about it.
All right. Love it. Moving on, got a question from one of our absolute favorites, Ali Raw at Leg Sweep MMA. Ali Raw, what up? Believe he is a good friend from Australia. Shout out Australia. Shout out Ali. He says, thoughts on my promotion Trampoline Fighting Championship. 2 men or 2 women locked in a cage, but the floor is a trampoline and there is absolutely no rules. Phil, would you be willing to compete in the first ever event live on pay-per-view against the one and only Juice Jackson? Oh, do I answer first?
Sounds like a question for you, Phil.
Okay, all right. So this sounds great. I love trampoline fighting. That sounds awesome. I just hesitate on...
Sounds like something I did when I was 14.
Well, duh. That's why it's awesome, bro.
Well, now, you better have insurance. Who's this promotion again?
It's what do you mean? It's Ali Ra Incorporated. Come on, bro. It doesn't get more legit than that.
Ask him how the health insurance is before you do it.
It's full coverage, obviously, up to $2 million. But anyways, so
well, in that case, go and break your leg in half.
yeah, my one concern, is absolutely no rules. So does that mean that the Jews could bring like a katana sword? Like, am I gonna be dealing with that? Because that basically, Ali, DM me, show me the money, and let's do it.
Let's see the rule set.
Like, get rid of weapons, get rid of anything like that, and then
I think I have a contact at Fight TV. We can stream it through there.
Seriously, let's go. Let's go, guys.
All right, I got another one. We got to keep this moving. We got a lot of them. Meep MMA.
Meep MMA, what up?
He asks, how do you seeing the lightweight division forming if Reyes beats Jones for the title? Big if. The challengers and potential matchups as Reyes being champion. Would you be interested in a Dominic Reyes versus Corey Anderson title fight at 205?
No, not at all. But you know what I'd be real interested in? I would be real interested in Dominic Reyes versus Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Yeah, but Jones would end up getting that immediate title rematch.
I was just going to say that.
No way Dominic Reyes would beat him twice in a row.
Totally
or two
agree.
Out of three.
Totally agree. That's why. And yeah, it's a great question, me. But that is sort of where the imagination comes to an end. Is Jones would absolutely get the automatic rematch, and Reyes ain't beating him twice.
Yeah, and that fight would be huge. The rematch.
But maybe for the sake of argument, let's pretend he did beat him twice. Who would be the first person you'd put in against Reyes, the champ, after he beats Jones?
It'd be Corey Anderson versus Reyes, and that makes me unhappy.
What about Santos or Lionheart?
Santos and Lionheart are both Lionheart, he's fighting.
Lionheart retired Alexander Gustafsson in Sweden.
Yeah, after John did.
He didn't. No. He literally retired him. He made Gus say, "I want to quit the sport."
9 months. Gus has been rumored that he wants to come back. You know how these retirements go.
Yeah.
So
cool.
That narrative's gonna change from Lionheart retired Gus to Lionheart send Gus on vacation.
I think I said it the other time. What, Gus averages a fight every 2.5, 3 years? So this would actually be bringing him back. This would be bringing him back faster than usual.
Okay, I know we shouldn't ask our own questions, but my question to you is, did Gus sabotage his own career by being inactive?
Yes, 100%.
Was there a time when he could have challenged John Jones as the best light heavyweight on the planet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Clearly. So, yeah, I think his inactivity was a big problem. All right, hopefully we answered that one. Let's keep it moving. Combat Sports with Rhino.
Rhino, what up? How you doing, bro?
He says, sup, guys? Do you guys think young fighters like Sugar Sean, Shabazian, Chase Hooper, etc. know or care about old school MMA, about pioneers like Sakuraba, Huas? MMA is so young, but has a rich history. I hope this younger generation knows about it. I think this is a great question, outside the box. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it is a great question, and I think it's really easy to kind of give the mailed-in answer of, oh, yes, I'm sure they care so much, and they've seen all the fights since they were kids. But the truth is, these kids are so young, especially I'm thinking of Chase Hooper, that I'm not so sure. I'm sure, obviously, they know who these people are, but do I think that Chase Hooper has gone back and seen all of, Shogun Hua's fights and all of Sakuraba's fights? I'd be very surprised if he has.
No, I think they do, but let's take someone like Chase Hooper, for instance.
Yeah.
Chase Hooper is 20 years old and fighting in the UFC, meaning Chase Hooper's been around an MMA gym the majority of his life, I would assume. The people who have been instructing him, teaching him, having conversations, showing him his skills, instructing him, those things, are obviously talking about the history of martial arts and the UFC and things. So I do think they certainly know about the rich history of it. I don't know if they know, Chuck Liddell's early fight versus Vitor Belfort and how it went down, or the techniques that guys like Babalu Sobral used and stuff like that. But I certainly think they understand where the sport came from and things like that.
Absolutely. Very hard to disagree with that. And then this is a little random, but just really quick, it was really bothering me. Macy Barber's brother's name is Wyatt Barber. I love the South. Used to live in New Orleans, Louisiana. Got nothing but love for the South, but nothing but hatred for people named Wyatt.
My cousin's name's Wyatt.
Uh-oh.
The Southwest, man. Wyatt Earp. What's wrong with you?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Guys, he's not joking, by the way. This is going to be
I'm not joking.
This is going to be like an awkward issue.
Don't take offense because that comment it makes no sense anyways. You hate someone named Wyatt just because.
Wait, my comments make no sense? What? Oh, yeah. Yes, par for the course.
All
okay.
right.
Moving on.
We're like an hour and a half in. Let's go. MMA Predictions Guru asks.
MMA Predictions Guru, what up?
Which UFC fighters do you feel are underrated due to previous performances? For example, fighters such as Angela Hill and Michael Chiesa still get flack for previous fights despite obvious improvements. Another great question. You have any fighters off the top of your head that get bad reps for a couple tough losses?
Yeah, actually I do. Volkan Ozdemir. I think that Volkan got totally robbed against Reyes, and I think that he's an amazing fighter and one of the best light heavyweights in the world.
That's a solid one.
Jeremy Stevens comes to mind a little bit, although I know he's fallen off.
This is kind of a controversial one, but I think Jose Aldo. I think Jose Aldo's a Hall of Fame level talent, but I think most of the new generation know him as, the Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo, who got knocked out.
But most people think he's in the top 7 all time.
Yeah, for sure. But I do think that makes him underrated. People don't understand how good he is because he got knocked out in 13 seconds. At least a generation of people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I know those aren't the names he's looking for. Underrated due to previous performances. Kamaru Usman, he's been a wrestling heavy attack, not the most exciting fighter. I think people assumed up until he beat Woodley and Colby, and still maybe don't see him as like that dominant champion, but I think he's extremely elite.
Okay, on that exact note, I've just got the most perfect question to follow up. One more question from Jalen Ware at Strive to Be Great. It says, when Kamaru Usman stops the Masvidal hype train, does he deserve to be mentioned more amongst the pound-for-pound elites? And why is he not getting his due and respect from fans/media right now with his resume? #AskSplitPod. That's a great question.
I've compared him to Tyron Woodley in this way many, many times. Tyron Woodley still waiting for his bump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes these guys just, they don't catch on even though they are elite, even though they are pound for pound. There's no doubt, regardless of whatever list the UFC put out, there's no doubt in my mind that Kamaru Usman is a top 12 pound for pound fighter in the world. No doubt.
Yeah, I think that the one thing I wanted to say about that is the only difference that I see with how Woodley's reception versus Usman's is playing out is Tyron Woodley kept winning and winning and winning and winning, and Dana White just was so aggressively obsessed with destroying him that it ultimately worked. And I think that the fans took a lot of their cues from Dana, right? If he says this guy sucks, this guy's a bum, this guy's an idiot, why should the fans care?
Very true. Very true. I see what you're saying.
But with Usman, it's different. White seems to like Usman, and still they had a shot of Usman live at 246. I don't know if I heard a single clap in the entire arena. And to Usman's credit, this guy just fought one of the best welterweight title fights, of all time against Colby. So he is really unpopular.
Let's not get carried away with the best title fights of all time. I can name
one of the best welterweight title fights of all time.
I can name a handful off the top of my head.
Name a handful. Why don't you do it?
Trigg, Hughes 2.
Okay, one of the best fights ever. Nice.
Condit, Lawler.
Why? Just because it was so close?
It was fight of the year in 2014.
Yeah. Oh, I'd say it's comparable. Okay.
You're gonna tell me it's better than Robbie versus Lawler or Robbie versus Rory too?
No, I won't. But I will say it's better than Lawler Condit.
I don't know if it's better than Lawler Condit, where they're both on the fence at the end and they're drained. That was a back and forth title fight.
It was amazing.
That was an amazing fight.
I know.
So yeah, let's just, everyone wants to call everything's the greatest. The greatest this, the greatest that. Let's have a little reverence for the history. It's like, it was a great fight. It was not the greatest fight.
Yeah, okay, very fair. All right. This one is from Juice Jackson at Aaron Jackson, the guy that I may be fighting in this trampoline match. If John Jones wins, do you think he calls out Stipe? If Reyes wins, do you think he calls out, who am I kidding? Reyes is a lamb. Hashtag #SplitPod. Yes, he is. A lamb being led to the slaughter.
I'm not necessarily sure we'll see John call out Stipe. I don't know if John's real.
Let me be 100% clear. There is 0% chance Jones calls out Stipe. Jones fans, I don't know how to tell you this. He ain't fighting Stipe, and you fall for it every time.
He's going to fight him eventually.
Maybe in 2028.
I mean, who would you rather see? I mean, Stipe doesn't want to fight DC again.
He has to. He has no option. Again. I mean, he has to. It's a trilogy competing. If Stipe doesn't finish the DC trilogy, that will be the biggest. That will be the first thing that comes up when you think of his career.
That'll be the biggest blemish on his resume.
It'll just be the first thing people think about. Oh, remember when he refused to complete the trilogy against Daniel Cormier?
You keep inserting words like refuse. Are you listening to what he's saying?
Is he not refusing? My bad.
Well, he's refusing to fight him next. Let's say he
fights
John
refusing.
Jones. And
he knows that DC said he's going to retire if the fight doesn't happen soon. That would be 100% a refusal. 100.
Well, your point, DC's already a year past his self-proclaimed retirement date, so.
It will be, listen, I like Stipe a lot. Genuinely. And I genuinely hope he doesn't go down like that. Because
I genuinely hope,
if he wants to not fight DC and have that be the biggest part of his story, oh boy.
Well, if he beats John Jones, sorry to hurt your feelings again, but DC part of the story won't be nearly as important.
Yeah, that's a big if. Jones ain't going there anytime soon.
Well, that'll be the big question, but I don't see him calling him out on the mic at all.
Yeah. No, there's 0 chance Jones is calling out Stipe.
All right, I got another one right here from Glitch MMA.
Glitch MMA. I love Glitch.
Glitch at MMA Port. Got to get it right.
Oh, yeah. Why'd you screw that up? I was just about to say that.
It's getting late here on the West
Sorry,
Coast.
guys. Fight Geek's always screwing everything up.
All right. If Valentina Shevchenko wins Saturday night, should she fight Amanda next or wait for the winner out? We just went over this. I think she should fight.
I love the wording though. He's like, this super fight or this super fight, because she's not just fighting a featherweight. She's not just fighting a flyweight. I like that.
Andrea KGB.
Oh gosh, that really does sound not legit, right? Like when you actually say it.
Honestly, that sounds more appealing to me than Caitlin Chikagian versus Valentina Shevchenko.
No, but I'm speaking in terms of. At least Chikagian has this run she's been on. KGB just lost.
The run she's been on? She has 8 straight decisions in the UFC.
She's a decision machine. You should love her. You're a fan of Jones. You like decision machines. You love decision machines like John Jones. You should like Chikagian.
We got decision machines. Should we pull up his record and see how many?
We can. Yeah, let's go look at how many of the title fights are decisions after the picogram. So okay, never mind. All right. So. Okay. I've got a question from, and this is at PV1224. PV, what up, son? He says, when Bruce Buffer announces fighters, he says the same words in the exact same order for every fighter. Do you find this as annoying and tedious as I do? Hashtag AskSplitPod. P.S. I need another PDV, what up? So I'm just going to really quickly say, PDV, what up?
Perfect. And I'm going to quickly say, no, I never get tired of Bruce Buffer. That's part of the experience.
Yeah, PV, we love you, but come on, man. That's blasphemy, bro. Bruce Buffer's a guy.
That watch fights in my house, one of their favorite things is making fun of the hotel curtains that he wears as a blazer each fight night.
He's the man. I honestly, I know on a serious note that there's a lot of people that actually don't love what Bruce Buffer does, and I understand.
Really?
I understand, but I don't agree. I think he's fantastic.
Who doesn't like what Bruce Buffer does?
A lot of people prefer Martinez.
I don't understand. All these new hipsters want to come in and get rid of Joe Rogan and Bruce Buffer?
Well, hold on. I want to get rid of Joe Rogan right now. Remember when he said Felicia Spencer beat Cyborg?
Who cares what he says? He's a
staple. Well, then why should he be there? Who cares what he says?
I care. Okay. I want him there.
Okay, but no, I agree. Bruce Buffer should go absolutely nowhere.
Right. No, I like that they actually have a rotation of guys now that they use and that Bruce doesn't have to do it all the time. But, yeah, whenever there's a big fight night and it's Conor McGregor or John Jones, I want Bruce Buffer saying, "It's time."
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's great.
That was definitely a weak rendition. But, yeah, it's one of my favorite parts of the night.
Yeah. All right. This is from Jokers LL. What up? Love Jokers LL.
Love Jokers.
He's a great dude. He's a great follow. He's been a very loyal listener, and he even used the hashtag AskSplitPod, which we really appreciate. He says, if the top fighters from every division were put into a Hunger Games situation where they all fought to the death, who would be the last one standing? Go ahead.
Tony Ferguson.
Right? I feel like that's the only real answer.
He'd be sitting in like around a campfire and like,
You know what he'd do? I feel
eating
like
some wild animal that he's got on a stick.
I was gonna say, I feel like everyone would fight amongst themselves and like he would just kind of disappear and people would forget about him. And then like in the final showdown of like 4, he just comes out of nowhere with this like bone armor made from like the leopards he's killed.
I see him running around like Predator style, covered in mud head to toe.
Predator style.
Just hiding in the bushes and stuff so nobody can catch him, and then just striking when he needs to and just being super like weird.
I'm actually like, how horrifying would that be? I'm getting frightened even thinking of this possibility of being one of these victims. Like, how horrifying.
Is there any other answer on the whole roster?
The better question is, could the entire roster defeat Tony if it was Tony versus everyone in the island?
Well, Tony and Mike Perry versus everyone.
I don't know, man. Mike might make a stupid mistake.
Mike might not be resourceful enough to last that long, right?
Yeah. I think he'd drink the mud water and get, die pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think it's Tony all the way.
Yep, gotta agree there. All right, moving on. Again, so many great questions this week, guys. Really appreciate. Oh, this is from one of my favorites, Smokey J MMA. Smokey, where you been, dog? Missed you,
Speaking
homie.
of Tony Ferguson picks, Smokey just put out an awesome Tony Ferguson pick.
Oh, it was what? Thank you for bringing that up, Fikey. Guys, you got to check out Smokey J. He does amazing drawings of fighters, and one of his best works ever was Tony Ferguson recently. He's at Smokey J MMA, and his question is: Ilir Latifi is set to throw down with the Black Beast this weekend. If he makes light work of Lewis, what message do you think this will send to the heavyweight division? Also, would Lewis have been your choice for Ilir to face first up at heavyweight? Hashtag AskSplitPod.
Well, I definitely don't see him making light work of the Black Beast.
But how incredible would that be?
It would be incredible. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I heard that Ilir Latifi was going to heavyweight, I was just kind of like, huh? Just a bizarre move. As we spoke of, he's listed at 5'11". I think he's more like 5'9". So he's going to come in at like 5'9", 225 pounds. Not sure that I could have dreamt up him debuting against anyone in the heavyweight division. So the Black Beast works for me. The stranger, the better in MMA.
Yeah, I will go ahead and say that I do not think that was the best fight for Ilir Latifi to take first. But look, Smokey J, if Ilir Latifi wins that fight, then it was
for him ranked that highly.
Sorry?
Name one fighter that's a better matchup for him ranked in the top 8.
Oh, I couldn't do that, but why would he get such a highly ranked opponent? He's not even ranked at light heavyweight.
Jairzinho Rosenstrike is fighting Francis Ngannou coming off like 2 relevant wins.
Yeah, because he beat Alistair Overeem.
Is that like a super relevant win at this point?
It's more relevant than literally 0 wins.
Derek Lewis has a win over Francis Ngannou right now.
Yeah, I know. Derek Lewis is a former title contender. He's a very good fighter.
What is he ranked? I can't tell right now. Is it like 7th?
Man, you're always putting me on the spot with this
I
stuff.
think the point is that heavyweight is a super shallow division. He's not going to fight one of the top few guys.
Lewis is 6.
I don't think, Volkov is enormous compared to him. JDS is enormous compared to him. I mean, who was he going to fight?
Walt Harris. What about Walt Harris?
Walt Harris knocks him out in the first round, guaranteed.
Really?
Did you see Walt Harris's hands the last 2 fights?
Yeah, no, I mean...
And all due respect, I think when Walt Harris comes back, he's going to have a special fire burning inside of him.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so is that it for the questions? I know we've got one from Kairos. Should I
Yeah, I
go?
think that does it for all the
Okay,
submitted
so we're going to go
questions.
ahead and play Kairos's question here. As soon as I get down to it, scroll down to it. Again, wow, what awesome questions, guys. Thank you
Excellent
so much.
questions.
Absolutely. And just while I'm scrolling real quick, guys, podcast's almost over. If you get a chance, boy, does it help us to get those 5-star reviews on iTunes. It shouldn't take you more than a second. You don't have to write a long paragraph. All you got to do is hit that 5 stars on the app and you are good to go, and it really, really helps us. In fact, in the future, look out for some potential opportunities to win some prizes with those reviews. So we really appreciate them. And then I've now reached Kairos's question, so I will start it over. And here is Kairos MMA.
What's up, Phil? What's up, Vikey? It's been a minute. Here's my question. Dominic Reyes says that home runs will get you there in terms of wins in the octagon. He says he's been doing it at the highest of levels, so why won't it work on John Jones? My question for you guys is this. If Dominic Reyes goes out there for broke, acting like he's got nothing to lose, trying to take John's head off from the start of the fight to the end of the fight, how do you think it turns out? Also, Phil, I saw your poll about Masvidal versus Usman. I was very disgusted by the results. Here's my question for you. If Usman decides he wants to wrestle with Masvidal for 25 straight minutes, can Masvidal get back up to his feet? And if so, for how long?
Awesome question.
Excellent question.
Questions, I should say. Why don't you start off with that first one?
Refresh my memory. Sorry.
That's literally why I asked you to do it. Sorry, Kairos, they were really good.
Okay. If Dominic Reyes and finds a way to beat John Jones,
okay, yeah.
Does he have an opportunity? No, I don't think he does have an opportunity other than, lightning striking. I think that Jones, again, tactical game plan, will stay away.
But Kairos said, what if he comes out just swinging for the fences right out of the gate? What are his chances?
Well, when you're getting, calf kicked and your knee pushed backwards, it's hard for you to come out swinging as hard as you can. John has tactics that keep people like Santos from getting to him that way, Santos had a good performance against John, yes, but he was never threatening in a way where
he won that fight.
Hurt.
He won that fight. He won that fight 48. Santos won 48-47.
He never had John hurt with headshots.
Santos, there's a rumor that Santos was knocked down in that fight. Guys, go check the official stats. He was not knocked down.
No, I'm not saying Santos was knocked down.
No, so I'm saying
John,
yeah.
I think that Santos is a better striker than Reyes. May not be as tall or as lanky, but I definitely think he's a more skilled striker. And John was able to steer clear of him, so I'm assuming John's going to be able to steer clear of Reyes. I think John is going to, obviously implement his kicks, his push kicks, and all that stuff that he does to really, those kicks really nullified and gave Anthony Smith a hard time, too. Anthony Smith couldn't get off any offense, literally zero offense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how I see him getting it done. He's going to chip away at Reyes. He's going to make him very, very uncomfortable. He's not going to be able to get off like he says he is because John will control that distance, and then I see John finishing him in the third.
Yeah, Kairos, I think it's a great question because I think that is absolutely, Reyes' one and only path to victory is coming out of the gates, absolutely throwing haymakers, going for the knockout.
Hoping for chaos and hoping to catch him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So I think that's what Reyes has to do. That's what his game plan absolutely needs to be. Having said that, do I think it will be enough? No. Now on to the second question regarding my poll, which is still going on, by the way. It's not over yet, but it's been by far my most successful poll so far, asking who people have for the highly anticipated Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal title fight, which Dana White has said will likely headline International Fight Week at UFC 252. It has almost 34,000 votes. Guys, thank you so much. That's more than most.
That's unbelievable.
That's more than most of Ariel Helwani's polls get. So, guys, I cannot.
Is that a humble brag? What are you doing over there?
Oh, no, I'm thanking everyone. I'm not bragging. I'm thanking. I can't do it. They have to do it. So I'm thanking everyone. But Masvidal leads that currently 60% to 40%, which I think has shocked a lot of folks, understandably.
34,000 people think that Masvidal is going to beat Usman?
That's correct.
Wow. Sorry, 60% of 34,000.
60-40.
That is questionable.
Yeah. So
is that because
I think
Jorge's on ESPN Press Row once a month?
Oh, come on. You know, the truth is, I've seen a lot of people really hating.
Stylistically, that's a horrible matchup.
Okay, but we all said stylistically the worst matchup for Masvidal was the undefeated god known as Ben Askren. How'd that go?
Well, lightning struck in that fight. Go back and look at Damian Maia controlling.
So you think Askren would win 9 out of 10 fights against Masvidal? Is that what you're saying?
No. But I don't put Askren, his physicality, his striking, all of that stuff is not even close to the level of a Kamaru Usman, like in his prime. I mean, those comparisons are absurd.
Yeah, I'm just saying we've doubted Masvidal all year.
Kamaru Usman's the sitting champion in a loaded division today in his prime, and Ben Askren was on the backside of his career kind of having a couple fun goes at the UFC after the fact. It's completely different circumstances.
You're being a little dismissive there. Askren was 1 fight away from a title shot. Had he won the Jorge Masvidal.
Based on popularity, because beating Jorge Masvidal doesn't get you a title shot up until Jorge Masvidal became a big star. He had just lost to Wonder Boy and Damian Maia.
Askren claims that he had been told he was getting the title shot if he beat Masvidal.
Obviously, because of the way he runs his mouth and the kind of notoriety he was generating. He's certainly not a top 4 or 5 talent in that division. I still can.
Fikey gets the UFC. Oh, what do you mean? Notoriety is what gets you the title shots most of the time.
We're not talking about that, though. You're comparing Masvidal's win versus Askren as some kind of way to gauge his performance versus Usman, and I don't think you can say, well, he beat Ben Askren, a wrestler, by a 5-second flying knee and take anything away from that going into a title fight versus a guy who, A, is not going to run into his knee in 5 seconds, and B, is light years better today.
Yeah, no, look, absolutely agree. The truth is, who do I think is going to win that fight? I think Kamaru is going to win that fight. Absolutely. I'm leaning Kamaru.
But do I think that
Masvidal has a shot? No, he's a live dog. He is.
And he trains at ATT, and he's been there forever, so I'm sure he'll be as ready to go. He has the skills. Do I think he'll be able to stand up? Potentially he'll be able to stand up and get the fight standing a few times. But, Masvidal, I'm not sure will be able to get it there enough to capitalize in a way others haven't been able to versus Usman.
I'm just trying to, now correct me if I'm wrong here, I'm just trying to think of the last time that Masvidal was completely dominated on the ground by a wrestler. I'm well aware it's happened, but hear me out. Damian Maia, okay.
Dominated it.
Wow. I'm glad you brought that fight up, Fikey, because he stuffed a ton of takedowns in that split decision loss.
Right, but Damian Maia is horrible at takedowns, first of all.
He's not horrible.
I'm pretty sure Tyron Woodley stuffed 22 of his shots, right?
Woodley is a wrestler.
Well, my point is, again, that rotates right into our conversation. Woodley couldn't get off the ground with Usman on top of him. So
that was like Woodley's worst performance of all time by a mile.
That's not an excuse. Facts are facts.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
but
do I think he could get up? Potentially, but I think he's going to have a hard time getting up. Usman's a beast.
So you see that just being a 50-45, just wrestle.
No, I see that being maybe 48-47. Like I said, I see the fight starts on the feet. I could see Jorge winning a first round.
Wait, 48-47, you just said you didn't think he could even get up.
No, I didn't say that. I said I could see him being at ATT with his training and his camp, getting up in spots. Kind of, how Conor was up in spots in the third, boxing with Khabib, you're going to be able to have a couple striking moments, but I don't think that Masvidal will be able to capitalize in a way like knocking Usman out. Do I think he could win a round on his feet? Sure. Do I think he's going to win 5 rounds on his feet or knock out Usman? Probably not.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree, and I would also say this. I would be surprised, though, if Masvidal doesn't win at least 1 round. I would.
So would I. I think that he has all the skills, and I definitely think Masvidal's his best he's ever been today.
I know we've got to wrap up right now. I'm going to end with this last question for you related. Why did McGregor versus Masvidal not happen? Did Dana want to protect Conor? Did Conor not want the fight? Was there what was the reason? Because we know that the fans wanted it. I've run several polls on it, getting over 11, 12,000 votes overall. I'm not doing that to brag. I'm saying this is a proportion. People wanted Conor Masvidal. That's a fact. It didn't happen. Why?
They're protecting their asset. They want Conor coming off a big light victory to fight the winner of Tony versus Khabib. I think that's as clear as day. That's what the marketing team wants. That's what Dana wants. The promotion wants Conor with momentum, which he has now after knocking out Cowboy, to fight the winner of that fight so that they can build a super fight. Conor coming back to reclaim his title or the rematch versus Khabib, yada, yada. And if Conor fights somebody else and doesn't look as good, that narrative changes again. That's the first part of it. Masvidal's as hot as he's ever been. Masvidal, this is his only chance he's ever going to get to fight for that title. So he has to take that opportunity as well. His stock is up. He's a title challenger now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I think it just makes the most sense for the business for it to play out this way. But I totally agree with you. I wanted Masvidal versus Conor as well. But I think the UFC is protecting their investment and trying to set up a title fight with Conor with that momentum behind him.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're out of time. Fight Geek, take us away, baby.
All right, guys, as usual, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, and more. I'm at the Fight Geek MMA. He's at Phil the MMA Dude. We're at Split_podcast. It's 4 words, the Split Decision Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace.
Peace.